All right, looks like we have some folks starting to join us here. Welcome to the demo here. My name's Todd Nelson. I know it takes a minute to get in there. If you can, change your name so we know who you are, and then we can have a little bit of conversation as we go here. We are going to be walking through a demo of some of the UX1 kinds of features that are available. Joining me on our call here today is Elizabeth Schriefer, Doug McCarthy, and April Favara, who's with us, excited and happy to be here at InFocus. We're joining you. We are here at the 23rd floor of the iLearn Tower, having a merry old time. Hello, Julie. Good to have you. All right, some other folks too. Great. Well, I think we'll get right started here. We only have a limited amount of time while we are here. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions as we walk through this. Hopefully everyone can see my screen right now as we get started. Is that an affirmative? Mm-hmm. Yes, well, that's good. Thank you. Well, as I've thought about today here, a lot has been shown about how we can utilize some of this personalization that's been made available through the various features that are out there. So I thought we'd just kind of go from an outside-in perspective here. So yes, we can come in and we can utilize EnterpriseOne kind of how it's originally designed here. If we came from 9.1 or any of the earlier versions, we have the ability just to come in and begin to again use the navigator. And that's all fine and good, and we still need to be able to use the navigator. Many of us who are working in elevated areas where we are BAs or people who are working behind the scenes, we're using FastPath depending on who we are. But really when we want to start looking at some of these UX1 tools is that, yeah, maybe we want to move away from using things like the navigator most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. Of course, people have been using favorites as a means of menu travel as well. But, then they brought in the use of the carousel to be able to access some of those things as well. But it's really when we got into utilizing some of the UX1 tools such as Prebuilt Roles that things started to really change for us. And some people have even had some reluctance. They've looked at a role such as this, and I'm using our pages bar that's now available in here. In a pre-built page such as this one, there's the 56 that are available, which are nice to be able to have, but let's face it, in some instances, this may be just a starting point for some people. They'll look at a page like this and say, yes, my AP managers might be able to utilize this. Yes, this could be a good thing, but is that really accomplishing what we want it to do? Many people have not really dug into using some of these because they think, well, I've got the watch list, the charts, and the springboard, they look all fine and good, but I'd like to have a lot more views, especially maybe as an AP manager or something, or if I'm looking at a warehouse manager, whatever those various things are. There are the additional levels of these pages, which I think have been overlooked somewhat. If you look over here on the springboard here, inside of a pre-built page, this is actually a parent task view that's been added as the springboard bar. And this really, instead of using a springboard pane, you could actually use the menu pane and pick any menu you wanted, as long as you have that parent task number. But these sub-menus, if I click on like AP suppliers, this actually opens up another UX1 page, which I think a lot of people didn't really realize. So we can be looking at our supplier list. This is a supplier team, our AP supplier. Or I can look at the AP My Team, which is an additional pre-built sub-page to the Accounts Payable Manager. So there's really much more than what we see here inside of any of these given pages. So yes, so again, we're working from the outside in. We can look at this and realize that again, this is a pre-built page. It has limited things that are inside of that. But from there, we could really look at more of the additional functionality that's been added. I've always, as I've been teaching using these for a long period of time, I just think of this as sort of an idea pool. What kinds of things I like? I think many people have come to realize that the analytics that are available inside of here are very useful. And if I can come in here and say, oh, I probably want to be able to use, they see that it's built off of the OneView version of an inquiry program. So this is the supplier ledger inquiry program, but it's the OneView version of it. That's how I build these charts that are available to us. I can come in, look at the things that I like, and then build the pages as I see fit. So this would be a pre-built one. The next step of going a little bit deeper into using a UX one would be build something that works for me. So we're going to look at a few examples of some things that we could do. And when release 22 came out, we found out that we had the ability to add orchestrations to a page such as this. So here we have an orchestration that is set up right from inside of a composed page. That could be added here. An alternative might be that I have just a straight application on a composed page here as well. I might have 2 or 3 of them on here. Kind of defeats the purpose of Cafe One, but it's still an idea that you could do that. Another way that we've looked at utilizing some of these kinds of pages is building things that give a graphical view, elaborate process flows. This is kind of a page that we built that shows a process flow. And so this might be something for people who are being cross-trained into a new area. It's going to show the integration between purchasing and accounts payable, what that looks like. And then I've added a URL on here, which is a web page that gives a video that can show an introduction into how we at our company might do a specific process. This is how we walk through doing accounts payable. So we can utilize a page like this for various types of things. Along with that, we could eventually remove the tutorial piece, and maybe just inside of here, it has a combination of the various tools that are available: charts, a favorites list, an application, a watch list pane. Again, we can develop these in quite a few different ways. They can be rolled out at different stages of a user's access to E1. If they are a new user, along with that, maybe we want to have specific processes that we want to have our users go through when we first get started. So maybe we have some tasks that they need to get taken care of in HR. Could build a page specific for those kinds of things so that they could make sure that they do the things that they need to do to get started. So,
Todd, we did have a question come in, if you don't mind me. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
Please,
it's a good question. It says,
let's hear it.
How much of what you will be showing will only work if you have OneView reporting?
Well, this is the thing about the UX1 tools. If you have install the UX1 tools, there's a limited use OneView license so that you can get to all these. You don't have to have the full license for use all of the OneView reporting. It's a limited license so that you can utilize these jet analytics when we're looking at the various charts that are available out here. So let's see, is this one it? Yeah. So all of these features come with that limited view license, and so that's available if you have access to the UX1 tools. Okay.
Great, thanks. So go ahead and let us know in the same chat if that answers your question or doesn't answer a question, or I think you can come off mute as well if that's easier.
Yeah.
If you want to chime in that way. But either way, we'll keep monitoring the chat. So if you have more, go.
Absolutely. Okay, so like I said, this is, again, you can get just crazy with some of these types of pages that you could build here. This one's really on the outer limits. Again, this gets me almost to the point of being unpractical. But at the same time, if you wanted to have you didn't want to do any menu travel, you could select on any one of these items to pop it out so that you could work on it, view it, and then go back to it and use it. Now, real quick, in the same way, the other big tool that you can utilize some of the other UX1 types of features is being able to use your Cafe One layouts and some of the various personalization tools that are available inside of an application. So if we went to something like Supplier Ledger Inquiry, and yes, we could just go ahead and have our straight grid that shows up and does what it wants, but we might want to have something that's set up in such a way that we really want to highlight specific types of fields. You can use a grid that's just minimal, that uses just the things that you want. Same way you could make some personalization things to select something that gets rid of the unnecessary fields that are up here. Along with that, you can create required fields. So this is probably some of the features that have been most requested to remove, help companies move away from having to make modifications, is the ability to remove fields and add fields in given applications. And that is being able to also add fields not just in the header up here, but also in the grid as well. So a lot of flexibility along with that. Also the ability to, as necessary, add the number of grid rows inside of here too. So we can do some great things along with that. We can do things such as adding layouts that have multiple applications that are linked together inside of a given application such as this one. So if I'd inquired on a specific person here, I can have it that it's going to go ahead and populate all of these other applications as it just did here on the right. Another piece of that, which I think people overlook entirely, is that, you know, if we're working on an application, do we really want to have lots of additional applications on the screen? Maybe not. If you're someone's, let's take for example, someone such as a procurement clerk, someone who's involved in getting lots of goods and services or whatever things, our supplier. We could have two things on this screen that would be very helpful. We could have a website built into the page, and we could have linked to specific item numbers out to a supplier site. Along with that, maybe we only want that to appear when we inquire on that specific supplier. Maybe we only use one or two suppliers for something specific in whatever our area that we're working in. So that screen would only appear when we inquire on a specific supplier number, and these windows here would just disappear altogether. Okay, so there's some really nice things that you can do to add to that. One thing that has been overlooked as well is the ability to add charts to the screen. When you're using the layout editor for this, it talks about adding additional applications which you can link to, which we can see here. Do I have another one? I might have one set up here. No, I don't. Let's see, maybe this one.
While you're looking at that, we got another question. I think
let's hear it.
Piggybacking off the one we got earlier, but what type of license is needed? Is it that OneView license that you mentioned?
Correct. Yeah, it's a limited loose. You don't need to get it. It comes with the UX1 package. It's provided.
Great. So Steve, let us know if that doesn't answer your question, or go ahead and chime in if you have more or a follow-up.
Absolutely. Anyway, I was saying though that many of these features here can be dynamically linked, so you can link your fields together from one to the other side. I've also put in, this is a URL. If I was someone who's just starting to learn a new program, I could have tutorial type information that was set up inside of here. I could also have it on an ad screen. Most of these features are really to help users be more efficient, to make sure that they're not missing fields when they enter things, that they're seeing only the things that are really important here. So when we take these one at a time, there's really is a cumulative effect where they really can assist with doing the work that you need to do in a much more efficient manner. All right, let's stop. We'll open up for any questions. If you want to unmute yourself, or just, and it can be about anything UX1, or you can just ask any of us, our iLearn staff's all here. Happy to talk with you about anything you'd like to talk about. Got about 10 minutes left here. I'm looking at the question there. Yep.
It does look like we got another question in, Todd, from Karen. Do you have to install an ASU to get UX1, or is it included in a tools release? Do you know that one?
I think it's an ESU.
Okay.
I would have to confirm that. I'm trying to remember. I know it's provided. I think it's an ESU. There might be somebody on the call who knows better than I.
Thanks, Karen. And Todd, technically this only goes till 11:45, but
correct. We have 10 minutes extended before the session gets cut off. So
awesome. Great.
Yes.
I didn't read that. Wow. Great. So yeah, great. Nobody will get kicked off for the next 10 minutes. That's awesome. So yeah,
yes.
do feel free to hang with us.
And this is some of the things that we've been providing for the type of training we've been providing for our customers for quite a few years here, trying to help them, especially on an upgrade, get used to navigating, getting used to using the applications, help them being socialized to using these kinds of tools so that they can go ahead and help their workforce become more efficient at what they do. And again, with more changes that keep coming from Oracle, it's always good to keep everybody on the same path. All right, any other questions?
It looks like Steve asked, is there a difference between OneView pages and UX1? Are there more functionality? Is it anything else?
Well, yes. Well, yes. So our OneView functionality is going to create those reports, okay? And we can see those when we access them through various applications. And you can add a OneView output to a page. I'm going to go ahead and mute someone here who's... there we go. Had a little bit of a feedback coming around the bend there. But yeah, so a UX1 page, and think of them this way. UX1 pages are basically a landing page that's just built. So if we're on a page that's just blank right here, okay, I have the ability, if I go inside the page composer here, that I can add whatever pieces of content that I want. So in the case of a OneView page, you can see here, these are the various types of content that we can add to a page. I can come in, and if I have the full OneView reporting license and I have reports that I have built, I could come out here and add a OneView report to a landing page. When we hear the word UX, that's just a fancy way of saying a composed page that's built in a pre-built way. It has a watch list pane, it has the charts, and it has a springboard pane. That's just a fancy way of saying that. They're pre-built by Oracle, and they're delivered as part of the UX1 roles delivery package. We can take those and then build our own using this thing here. Again, you could decide on what application you have, what reports you want. You could build anything that you want onto this page. They could be just straight applications. They can be, again, URLs, whatever you like to have on there. So again, it's a very practical tool for putting the content you want on there. Hopefully that helped.
And we did get another question, Todd. Is there any impact on the overall performance of JDE?
Well, for using the pages, no. Now, of all these tools that are out there, there are various ones that do. The primary ones being when you're doing any the advanced queries along with watch lists. Okay, so if I'm on a page such as one of the pre-built pages here, okay, one of the first things I always tell people to keep in mind is that watch lists really should be limited to a limited number of people who can review those before using them, because a watch list is very easy to create. You build them right inside of an application, but if the interval time between when they run is too narrow. So let's say you have a query that's been set up, somebody set up a query that's wide open. If that query is too wide open and you have it running every 5 minutes, yeah, it's going to really cause issues. So whoever's reviewing these when they're built really need to look at those two parameters. How wide open is the search for those queries that are being created? And second of all, how often are they being refreshed? So you can tell how long these have been run when you see the little drop down here. But any of those that have been built, you've just got to be very cautious about how frequently they run. Otherwise, you are going to have issues per se. All right. Any other questions I can wrangle?
Can you change a UX1 page? Thanks, Peter.
You can't change it, but
he's kind of added a little bit, like remove a box or replace.
You can build the exact same page here. Now, this is a UX1 page, right? A one that's accounts payable manager. Well, I actually built this page. I built it from scratch. Okay, so there's actually the UX1 roles implementation guide, which if you Google that, you find it, it'll show you every part and piece of it. And from there, I will typically build a page and then I'll start to add and subtract things off of there. It's just all the use of the page composer. That's how they built them originally. So again, I built this page in under 5 minutes. They're very quick and easy to build. So, and again, if I didn't want to have these charts, if I wanted to change it out, if I wanted to add a map here, very easy to do that.
Got another question and from
Ready.
Steve. Can you copy a UX1 page and modify or rebuild the page with other features? You know, I just was playing with this here a couple days ago, and I was not able to copy it. I know, you know, with other shared UDOs, you can reserve them and do a save as on them. Maybe I was just missing a piece of that, but I was not able to do that inside the page composer. So I'm going to give you a big maybe on that. I'm going to have to look at it a little closer because I wasn't able to do it when I was trying to do one the other day. Because my assumption was that you should be able to, just like all the other UDOs. Because that's in fact what they are. So. And it doesn't look like we have any other questions at the moment, but we have 3 minutes before it kicked off. So that's right. If you want to sneak any other questions in, go ahead and put them in the chat or come with me up. Or if you want to ask us anything else about us, please stop by our page. If you want more information, please leave that there. We'd love to know more about you, connect with you about all things iLearn, our training academies that we have, some of the training that we provide. Love to work with your company.